Hello! You're listening to Kuzcopia on the creative process. Today's topic, character writing. Most every work involving storytelling is greatly dependent on the characters that they hold, if any. Writing characters well has nothing to do with having good characters, though the latter can make up for the former, as Batman's Joker will have demonstrated. Just matters very little, is so easy to write for, and it's just a good character, you can't really go wrong with him. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about how we perceive well-written characters, the problems of failing in that regard, and to give some tips and tricks that people use that you can watch out for. I'll follow by some plot analysis of two other productions on top of these concepts. First off, I would like to begin with some clear signs that a character is well-written. First and foremost, they are very, okay, now maybe not that much, but they're memorable, alright? Even if you don't remember their name, you can have a talk about the character for a long time, sparked only by someone asking, hey, do you remember that guy? Did this thing? Just a simple description and you're off. It doesn't take that much. Just black guy from Star Wars. Oh, Lando Calrissian, for example. Secondly, they're relevant. Many works have an abundance of characters that are not relevant, even if just at one specific time. This is where the concepts of protagonists, secondary characters, tertiary characters, also known as extras, comes from. Thing is, even being on the background is a function to perform, and even that can be screwed up. Thirdly, they're consistent. You recognize when something is off about the character. You know what happens if someone copy-pastes some message and they say that's from a friend of yours, but you read it and you're like, that's not from them, because it's not something they would write. Not in terms of content, just the words, the phrasing, expressions, or even just emoticon usage. If a character is well written, good or bad, you never hear them say anything that really stands out of, well, character. It's really not about attitudes, I'm not talking about what they're actually doing, but how they talk. Although, also, their relationships is important. So, how they relate to other characters, how they're affected by the other characters' actions, etc. Like, if a character's mother tells him or her that she's disappointed in them, they'll probably react differently than if it's a stranger. Likewise, they won't talk to the mother the same way they talk to some stranger character. So all of that needs to be consistent or is consistent. It's a good sign. One last thing would be uniqueness. There's something just unique about the character that's just not a crazy hairdo or something. Like, Vader's pretty unique. Nobody ever wore that armor again, But Yoda, for example, he is pretty unique physically speaking, but also the way he talks, his grammar is pretty his own thing. There might be other signs, but usually if a character is well written, you'll see at least two of these, if not all of them. Having well-written characters allows you the ability to twist your plotline, because the characters provide very gravitational heavy anchors, if you're getting my analogy. You can take more turns and directions, you can do harder turns with the plot if you have well-written characters. A different way in which they impact your plot is actually assisting in its engineering. Depending on how late you finalize your plotline, you may find these very well-written characters practically write their own plot, and you can just worry about executing it. The final and most important point is that, well, people care about well-written characters, and not very much about badly written characters. They care more when they're twisted into unforeseen developments and forced through these dangerous, life-threatening, or otherwise dramatic and emotional situations. And when people care about your characters and about what happens to them, that is an extremely strong, if not vital, sign that your story gonna get through. That it's gonna have impact. Very good. Exactly. It's my favorite word when it comes to storytelling. It's the impact. Badly written characters have almost the same impact than plot points, just in a lesser degree. Let's say it this way. If all characters involved in the plot point are badly written, that would automatically make the plot point bad. Not only do we not care about what happens to them, But again, they're unreal to a level that suspension of disbelief cannot cope with. For instance, we can buy that a character is hopeful and optimistic, no matter the bad things that have happened to them, even if we truly believe that it's an unrealistic stance that nobody in real life would take. We can buy it. But we can't buy that optimistic person just crashing down, being negative because of something that they already faced in the past. Like a character suffers a death in the family, right? He goes through the whole thing, comes back up, super optimistic, let's go, life is wonderful. Then he suffers another death in the family. But this time, it's a relative that is there's just no signs that he's more important to the character than the last one was. And the character crashes down, asks the exact same questions, has the exact same doubts, the exact same emotional struggle. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't connect. It's at that kind of event, it's at that point that we start seeing the writer in the story. And I mean, that's the point at which the endeavor to tell a story has failed, in my opinion. When the audience sees the writer pulling strings whichever way he wants, the writer has failed. More on that when I cover the topic. For now, badly written characters stand out like a sore thumb and are more usually thought to be bad characters when that's sometimes not the case. The easiest way to tell the difference between bad characters and good characters who are badly written is with comic books. I consider that cheating, but it easily happens because you have 60-year-old characters that have been written by almost hundreds of different writers, and some did a bad job, and people clearly recognized it. So it's definitely the perfect medium to see this difference brought to light. And I'm of course talking about Western comics, where writers actually switch. Now, the process of actually writing a character well involves a lot of complexity. It involves paying really close attention to their dialogue, being super mindful of what are their traits, characteristics, personality, etc. I'll tackle all of this at some other point. For now, I would like to go over some tricks that writers employ to help a character stand out as well written. It's stuff that they employ that you can actually catch very easily if you're looking for it, and to know that the writer was at least trying, and whether he succeeded or not, that he was really trying. Point number 1, unique phrasing. Expressions or words only that one character uses. This is so employed by Japanese writers that they use it to let you know what archetype of character you're looking at even, not just like an individual. But yeah, the only guy using old geezer to describe a certain character, the only gal referring to a kid character as a brat, while everyone uses kid or by name, things like that. Even actual sayings, obviously. Believe it is a notorious replacement for datebayo and is synonymous with the character that uses it. Other examples, I don't know. I am the knight. Screw you guys, I'm going home. Spartans! What is your profession? Things that just remind you of the character immediately. 2. Standout names. Names that are easy to say and spell, or names that are super different. Like you got Johns, James, Jakes, and Sarahs, and then there's Alexander. There's an additional trick to it that I personally enjoy, which is to pick names that have nicknames associated to them. That can be used to establish the relationships to the audience just by whether characters use the last name, the first name, or the nickname. So Alexander, for example, because you have Alex. 3. The physical outlier. The character's physical description somewhat sets the character aside. In visual mediums, this is for sure used a lot. Less so in prose. Not that interesting to warrant further comment, and examples are obviously I can use Vader again, I can use Joker, yeah. Now, we are going to go for the plot analysis, where we tackle 2 different works, which we will compare on the basis of these very concepts. One with great characters that get messed up with bad character writing, and vice versa for the other. The good, the bad, and then there's me. The ugly. The examples that will follow are from the domain of Japanese animation, and it will involve very minor superficial spoilers. If you want to know zero about how these stories end, you might want to skip it. Otherwise, please keep up, and don't worry if you don't know anything about these stories. I'll clue you on what's important to understand the comparison. The works are Naruto, with the great characters but bad writing, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, the masterpiece with the not so great characters but great writing. And if you love it, please calm down and wait for me to get to it. Let's hit it up with Naruto. If that name means nothing to you, then I'm pretty sure you don't follow Japanese animation at all. Ladies and gentlemen, all you wonderful people, hello. Kuzcopia here again with once-in-a-lifetime communication that you will only listen to in this YouTube channel. If you want to listen to the rest of the show, which includes the plot analysis as I left introduced, please follow the link in the description box below. If you reach this point, I would love to hear what you have to say about the whole thing. Did you like it? Did you think it was interesting? The format, blah, 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 blah. Do I really need to learn how to say words properly, or am I okay like this? Just to know I'm aware of that criticism, but feel free to repeat it. Feel free to do whatever you want, because this is my space, and in my space, you, my friends, are completely free. Completely free, and utterly. So go right ahead, buddy old pal, and let me know what you think. Either way, I hope you'll be back. Have a really good week. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.